What's up, world?
What?
What's up, world? You are now rocking with the KMD podcast. I'm your host this week, the Kid Wayne, live and direct from the 609, and I brought a couple of my friends with me. I brought
you served, man.
This guy you might know named Matt Coombs or Combs. Are you here?
Coombs.
Hey there. Thank you for tuning into the podcast, This is Matthew Combs straight from Fargo, North Dakota.
My man. All right, then. We don't know that guy, but we know that guy. And we got my other friend with me, fresh off his South Kai tour, Kreitz.
That's right. How's it going? South Kai was interesting. We're going to get into it, but I just want to say straight up that there was a ton of awesome people there. So I'm really glad I decided to go. I'm glad you guys yelled at me and told me to go.
Awesome people are awesome. So now that we're speaking, let's get into that, Kreitz. Let's talk about South Kai a little bit. What was the situation there? You were the only one of the three of us that was there, so go ahead and break that down for us.
Yeah, sure. So there was a total of 28 people that played. There was going to be 27, but I convinced the room to let Joey play because it seemed bad that he was just hanging out and not being able to play. So I'd rather make it. I told him let's make it even. I ended up having to play against him round one, which sucked. But and he ended up being one of my 2 losses. So
I immediately regret that.
Yeah.
So they were saying because he was one of the devs, he couldn't play in competitive. Was that the thing?
Well, so they try to hold themselves to a golden rule of because they design the cards, they don't want to play because they have information. They build decks obviously way ahead of time. They know what they want to play, and they've played it a lot. But we all agreed that look, you're doing this as a passion project, so you should be able to reap the benefits of that. So he passed down all the prizes and stuff because he did make top 8. So he was generous in that regard, but none of us wanted to see him just hanging out, not playing the game that he's been working hard at with all these other dev team members. So I was like, look, makes it even, let's do it.
Definitely.
But so there was 28 people. I've got our style and MP breakdowns. Unfortunately, there was a little bit of a snafu in the list. We don't have 2 of the Namekian stats for this, unfortunately. Matt, pre-recording, was saying there's a good chance they were Gohan. It's probably true. But unfortunately, we're just missing 2 of the actual decks. But I can go ahead and go into it for us. So Black, there were 4 players. 3 Devious players. Myself with Mercenary Tao. A Krillin player, and then a Turles player. And then there was 1 Perceptive Tien. 0 conflict decks. Then we had 2 blue players, 1 Protective Frieza, which I believe was the Fanzi level 1 and then Golden level 2. I don't have the stats again, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. 0 tag team players, 1 Resolute Goku with the Awakening stack. Next we had the 5 Namekian players. Unfortunately, like I said, 2 of the lists aren't here, but for sure we had 1 Knowledge Piccolo, which I got to play against, which was playing the Evo 3 and 4 levels. Yeah.
God of a bitch.
It's still around. It's still around. It's still relevant, man. he was playing he was playing the Evo 1 and 3 with the Premium 2 and Evo 1, 3, and 4 and the Premium 2.
Oh, really?
He was playing a ball deck, so.
Oh no.
Yeah, I know it's shocking.
What was he
playing? He was playing Dynamic Balls. I know that's all crazy, shocking news to a lot of people out there who've never seen Knowledge Namekian Piccolo.
New meta confirmed.
That's right. The other Namekian decks we had were 1 Restored Gohan, which obviously ended up winning the event. His stack was pretty interesting. It was the level 1 ally, Gohan, the Awakening 2, and then Future 3 and 4. And then we had a Radiant Kami player.
Woo!
Over to Yeah, Kami's really cool. I'm glad that he showed up. The cool thing was all 3 of the new MPs made it, which we didn't see with Celestial Tournament, so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Over to Orange, we had 1 Adaptive Draku, 0 Adept decks, although I did play a Orange Adept Chilled in a side event, which I'll probably go over later. which was super fun, and a lot of people were like watching because they didn't realize chilled could be so gross.
I don't know how they don't.
I don't know either. Then we had 6 Retribution decks, 2 Awakening Stack Gokus, another Awakening Goku, but with the premium level 4 for the drills, which is pretty exciting to see people playing that old level. Mm-hmm. We had Ret Android 13, a Retribution Frieza, which I believe was playing the premium. It was Premium 1 and then Golden 2 with the other 3 levels. There are 2 levels, obviously, the premium levels. So he was playing the old level 1, which was interesting because he was trying to be an MPVV deck. Mm-hmm. And then Ret Yamcha. Over to Red, we had 5 players, 0 Enraged, 4 Ruthless players, which actually was surprising to me. Because that's usually the mastery that sees lesser play, at least that I've seen. There was a Hercule, which made top 4, I believe, which was crazy. Ruthless Chilled, which... that's right, the champ was there and was actually kicking ass.
Oh, shit.
There's a whole big write-up. It was Kane Buckley was the one who ran Hercule, and he wrote a huge write-up about it on Retro. It's definitely worth a read. He was hilarious. He was in character basically the entire day, but at the end of the night he was like... His throat was like all hoarse, and it was funny, but he had a great time, and everyone loved it. I don't know if
sure shouts to Kane.
Yeah, I don't know if everyone on the stream thought it was funny, but everyone in the room was laughing the whole time. We had a Ruthless Chilled player, which was S.J. Brown, who came down from Dallas with me. He ended up going 2-2-1. Unfortunately, he had a draw, which kind of stopped his potential of making Top Cuts 2. Which actually happened to a few different people throughout the event, which is surprising considering how aggressive the format is, that there were still draws. Mm-hmm. We had a Ruthless Draku, and then we had a Ruthless Frieza that I believe was, again, the Fancy level 1 and Golden level 2, but I don't have the official stats on that.
No, man, he's playing the OG level 1.
Was he? Okay.
I'm kidding.
He might have been. I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't have the. I didn't play against him, and I don't have the stats in front of me, so I don't know. And then we had Ferrari Trunks, which ended up making the top 8.
Man,
and then last but not least, we had 5 Saiyan players. We had 3 Empowered. We had a Bardock, a Broly, and then a Future Gohan. We had 1 Rampaging Gohan, which was a mixed stack. I don't know the exact breakdown, unfortunately. And then we had a Dynamic Bardock, and that was all 28.
All right, so if we could just break down just by style and not by mastery, what are those numbers looking like?
So the full breakdown with just styles was 4 black players, 2 blue, 5 Namekian, 7 orange, 5 red, and 5 Saiyan. So it was a pretty diverse room.
I was going to say, it's pretty diverse, yeah.
Yeah.
No blue, though, right?
No,
you said, right?
Yeah, and not only was it diverse, but every style made it into top 8.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wait, so it's like that post from earlier today where the person was like, "Restored Gohan and Broly keep winning. The meta is so stale," and I was just like, Wait, what? I was like, did you see the Top Gun breakdown?
Yeah.
It's not usually how those things work.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And the crazy part was, I don't believe there was a single MP that was doubled in the top 8 either. So, not only was every style there, but a bunch of different MPs were there, too.
Man, that's insane.
So, yeah.
Has there ever been a time?
Oh, go ahead.
Like this?
I don't think so. I mean, that's what I was going to say. It goes to show that, I think Legends just expanded the pool so much that, it's kind of one of those, anything is possible moments.
There's a tear in my eye right now. This is so beautiful.
Like a proud dad.
All right, so that's cool. Let's talk about what's really important, though. Kreitz, how did you do?
So I did do a big write-up.
First of all, wait, I'm sorry. Who were you playing?
So I played Black Devious Mercenary Tao, which turned a lot of people's heads because half of my opponents didn't know what Tao's stack did.
It's an advantage if you ask me, bro.
That is one of the reasons why I wanted to play it. I actually wrote that. So I wrote up my deck reasoning and analysis of the event on the Fantasy Warriors Gather blog earlier today. several days ago for people who are listening to this, I guess, since we're always in the past. But one of the reasons why I wanted to play him was because he's really good at control if you know what you're expecting, and he gives you that edge because people know you have tricks, but they don't know what your tricks are. And because you're playing Devious, they know that you have a lot of tricks, and they don't know what they all are. So that was really exciting. I mean, one of the things I talked about in the write-up, too, was how we all discussed Devious Tao in, I believe it was episode 1 or 2, about how it seems like he shouldn't fit there, like he should fit with the other Black Masteries better because the Fancy cards give him a lot more. But, like, in testing and then in actual practice at the event, I was really surprised that he fit a lot better than I thought he would.
Is that mainly because of the discard aspect?
Yeah, I mean, the hand control was insane. One of the matches I played, literally every combat my opponent called on me, I ended combat or ripped his hand apart. So he hit me, like, maybe 4 times the entire game. Like, it was brutal. Like, there was a lot of... I mean, it's kind of, unfortunately, like, with the nature of, like, Black control decks, it sometimes comes down to whether you get the perfect storm of control cards or not when you need them. But Tao kind of helps you with that because his first 2 levels let you shuffle a card in during combat to draw a card. So, like, if you draw something you just don't need, you try to turn it into something you can. And if you don't, then you can throw it away to the Mastery, which makes it even better, too. So
I think it's a really big deal that Tao adds the shuffling to Black, which has always been one of Black's, like, biggest problems, is just lack of the ability to shuffle its own deck. And so Tao being able to do that, because in Black, a lot of times you're taking turns off and you're rejuvening your best card, and there's a lot of decks that you can never see that card that you just rejuved again, but just adding the shuffling into it just allows you to get those cards back into rotation so you have the potential to draw them again. So that's why I think Tao's always been a really good fit in Black.
Yeah, and one of the things, too, that, speaking of that I wrote up in the article as well, was the fact that the level 1, which usually seems like his worst level, actually helps Black a lot because it has so little relevant rejuvenation effects. Like, Black does have rejuvenation effects. A lot of them are on the Fan Z cards, which you just can't play with Devious.
Right.
But the other cards in Black are so situational they give you rejuvenation, so you can't really play them either. Like, there was that one from, like, set 6 that you name cards and flip them, and if you were right, then you rejuve 6. Stuff like that, which, like, is really hard to pull off. But because Tao has that level 1 ability that whenever they block, you get to rejuve, you can start off with a really powerful, like, card, and then depending on what they do, you might be able to throw an attack that you don't really care about, that they might because they don't want to get chipped, because they know that's what you're trying to accomplish, is just slowly chipping them to death. So they might block, you get to rejuve that card, and then Tao, power to shuffle it, to try to draw it again, or at least make it live for later turns. So, like, there's all these, like, cool little, like, small nuanced things you can do with Tao to make sure that all the cards you're playing or that are, you know, the top X of your discard pile are always kind of relevant, which was one of the things I didn't think about a lot until I saw it in action in playtesting. And I was like, wow, like, this is way better than I thought his level 1 could ever be.
Yeah, all good stuff. It's crazy. It's kind of cool that Tao gives you the ability to play those mind games, you know, where your opponent doesn't know, like, well, he's throwing this big attack, doesn't mean he has something bigger. So, like, it's a cool little aspect that Tao gives Black, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I definitely think that Devious makes Tao's level 1 a lot better, because now you're getting the action of his power, and then your next action, which is your Mastery activation, is trading a card for a card. I do think once you get off Tao's level 1, that the difference between the Masteries kinds become, like, less obvious, but definitely on that level 1 I could see how that keeps you in a lot of games.
Yeah, and the nice thing too, so in testing, one of the things that was kind of weird was, so the initial list had a lot more anger in it, because, you know, me playing blue Resolute Tao, I realized, like, you know, his level 2 is, like, the bread and butter. Like, that's where you're going to do all your damage.
Yeah.
Like, that's where your attacks don't particularly matter if they hit, but you need to just keep throwing as many as you can. But because this deck didn't have a ton of attacks that really, I don't know, there wasn't a lot that you wanted to just throw away. Like, every attack in the deck had a purpose for the most part. So, like, you couldn't really capitalize on the level 2 as much as you could, like, in blue. So I tried to have that anger package in the initial build to try to, like, push you potentially even past that. Like, I messaged Matt in one of the testing games where I was at 3, and I was like, I don't know what to do. I've literally never been on this level before. I don't know what it does myself, and I've played months of Tao. And Matt was like, well, you probably lose. And I was like, well, actually, like, with the deck I'm playing against, I'm kicking the crap out of it.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I just hate about his level 3 is that his level 3 just narrows you to non-styled cards, and, like, I've never been a really big fan of playing non-styled cards, like, in a lot of numbers anyway, so that's why I've always just hated his level 3.
Yeah, well, with this list, what made it kind of more acceptable is the fact that, like, the Mastery doesn't care about style getting the bonus, obviously, right? Like, that's what made Devious so powerful to begin with. So it wasn't as big a deal to have your attacks be non-styled as long as the other cards in your deck, for the majority of it, were styled, so that you can activate your Mastery with those cards instead. Because, like I said, like, a lot of the attacks in this deck were kind of all serving a purpose. So you never really wanted to throw your attacks away to the Mastery, but sometimes you were okay with throwing, like, a block away if you knew that you had a combat ender anyway. So, like, there was a lot of, like, weird, like, subtle things going on with what the style versus non-style breakdown in the deck was, which, if you look at the list that I posted, there's a lot of non-styled, but the majority of it is attacks. So, like, it was kind of okay to do that.
All right, sweet. There was also a side event in South Kai, right?
Yeah, so, like I was saying, there was a, like, win a box. I ended up coming in second. There was 16 of us, I think, that ended up playing in the side event. I think there was actually even a third one. There was like 8 people who played. The ones that got knocked out early started another one. But I played my Orange Adept chilled, and people were not prepared for the amount of damage that, like, level 2 and level 3 chilled, like, can just dish out. Like, they just forget that he has hard-hitting physical attacks, I guess. Or because he's so new, maybe they're just not used to it. But the fact that you always go into combat with +1 attack, and a lot of the attacks that I'm playing in my build either go and get other attacks, like with Uppercut, or they can search out drills, so I can use Bottle Drill, rejuve it, put it back into play, so next combat I can Bottle Drill again, so I always am +2 attacks instead of just +1. There was a lot of like small things like that really edge for future combats, not just the combat you're in right now. And so there was a lot of moments where people were just surprised at how many attacks I was throwing at them every turn. And it was, like, unrelenting. Like, I don't think I passed. I think the finals was the only game I passed more than once in the entire game. And that was just through dumb luck of drawing a lot of blocks, like, against them towards the end of the game.
Sweet. Now, was your experiences with Chilled also included in your write-up?
It wasn't. I definitely could do something like that, because I think that, like we talked about when Chilled first spoiled in our episode 1, he's really gross. He really needs to be in a very particular aggressive style deck. I know a lot of people said that they've been trying him in Ruthless a lot, but I think he really has a good home in Adept. Like, it's weird to say because, like, people always were kind of naysaying Adept early when it first. I mean, obviously, when it first came out, it was bad, but the last couple sets have really, like, slowly been building it up. And now there's, like, a critical mass of tools at your disposal as a physical deck that Chilled can really capitalize on.
Well, he was definitely, when he was first shown, I knew that he was going to be, like, the MP that kind of pushes that Mastery forward, because just Adept adding the stage buff to all of your attacks, like, it makes Orange Stare Down that much better with Chilled. It makes even if you want to run stuff like Orange Fierce Attack, like, all that stuff is great with Chilled, and it's better than running him with Adaptive, because, Adaptive is good at all because of the utility, but with Chilled, you want to run a really small drill suite that you just have access to throughout the game, like, as opposed to having, like, a large array of niche drills that you can keep in play at any time. So I definitely think that he helps that. And then also, I think his other best Mastery is probably Ascension, just because of how fast that deck can be.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of take it like the... like how you have, like, the Ferrari Trunks deck, but you can be maybe a little more aggressive. So, like, if the anger isn't there, you can still kind of scare your opponent from, like, wanting to call against you, or, like, you can take an aggressive route against it. I can see, like, Ascension being, like, a pretty good home for him.
Yeah.
I can see him pushing that dual win condition. So.
He does really well. I call that deck the purple Lamborghini. Sorry.
The Lamborghini Mercy.
Yeah.
Like we were getting at originally, though. So for those who haven't heard, or if my write-up of my actual tournament breakdown isn't out by the time this goes up on YouTube, I ended up going 3-2. I did get best in style for Black. technically
Woo!
Joey was 3-1-1, but the way I've kind of spinned it in my own head, aside from him having to grandfather it to me, he wasn't going to play, so I was going to get a round 1 bye. So technically, I was 3.5-1.5 in my mind, which is still better than 3-1-1.
Damn right, Kreitz.
Yeah.
Power of math, kids. The power
right.
of math.
If it wasn't for you, shit, you'd have been 4-1 with Top Cut, maybe.
I potentially could have been in Top Cut, but I mean, you know me, and I talked to you in the event. Like, I let you know that he was jumping in. And you're like, what? But a free win. And I was like, that's not me. I don't care about that. Like, I came to meet people, to have fun, to like promote the game we all like, and that's exactly what I did. Like, so yeah, I could have made top, but there's always next time.
About to make me drop another tear, bro. I love this game
sorry.
so much. All right, so this tournament that we've been talking about, somebody did win it.
Yes.
I hope I don't butcher his name, but it's Corey Aguilard, right?
I think.
Yeah, I love that guy.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how to say his last name either, unfortunately.
Love that guy so much. One of the nicest people.
Yeah, I've never had the pleasure of meeting him, but he looks like a stand-up dude, and he ended up taking it all the way with, was it Restored Gohan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the Restored Gohan list that I talked about in the breakdown. And yeah, he's a super cool guy. I got to talk with him some, both during the event and then the next day we stopped in at the shop before we left Slido, and he was there playing another card game that me and Wayne like, which is Universal Fighting System. He's apparently jumping into that game as well, so we might see him winning other events too.
Dude, let me tell you, for those of y'all listening, UFS or Universal Fighting System is the shit. They just got Street Fighter license, and the game is really cool. You still get the champion aspect that you get from DBZ, where you get to pick a character and just rock out with that character, and it's a lot of fun. If you guys are looking for a game to play, I highly recommend that one.
Yeah, I mean, I used to, like I was telling you, I used to play it back in like 06, 07, and then kind of dropped off when things started getting a little crazier. But to see the game come, like, still like be in production for so long, it's even changed hands to three different companies. From what I heard, the newest company is actually from one of the players of the game that loved the game so much that he bought the rights to the game himself and started a company to make sure the game didn't die, which is insane to think about.
It's almost as crazy as, devs getting together and keeping the game going online. Almost.
Yeah,
almost.
It's weird.
Almost
it's weird how that works out.
All right, but again, shouts to sorry, the sidebar for UFS, but seriously, go play. But shouts to Corey. He ended up winning the event, and he gets to create an orange card, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. The funny part too is about him winning. He won with his own card he's already made.
Yeah, resourceful shot.
Yeah, so resourceful shot. I kept joking about how he basically trunked himself. He came back in the past to give himself the knowledge to make resourceful shot because he knew at one particular moment he was going to need it.
One day in 2017, you will need this card, and it will take you to the promised land. Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he wasn't sure what orange card he wants to make. He did say that if it's possible, he wants to try to collab a little bit with the dev team to make a card that functions for Majin Vegeta when he comes out. Whether that is like this upcoming set or set 11. And Joey kind of hinted that maybe that is possible, but he wasn't sure because he didn't really get to do the same thing for the other players.
Right.
But that would be really cool if that's the case, because if Majin Vegeta is anything like he is in the show, he's going to be super aggressive. So like maybe we'll get another like physical like attack maybe that works well with him, or maybe like a drill that like finally makes having like the small number drills for like adept better, like a drill that has an effect that like cares about having less than X number drills to do something crazy. Like that would be really cool. So
well, yeah, definitely. So Coombs, you know everything, right? So if you were Corey, what card would you think is the card that Orange needs right now? It's already bonkers. But if it needed a card, what would that card be?
I mean, the thing is difficult because he's going to be making it for set 10, right? Kreitz.
So it's 10 or 11. I don't know if I don't know if they've announced when it comes out.
So there's going to be a new mastery. So if I were designing the card, I of course would try and make the card push the newest mastery as much as possible. But if I were like looking at like the current state of Orange and what Orange has, I would honestly continue to make. I would probably make another energy combat physical base card, whether if it be probably not a block because Orange's blocks are already overpowered, but probably just another attack. Because I think Orange Uppercut is a card that is going to continue to be just on the fringe of a lot of decks, and I really like making that card better and better because it's going to help support Orange's biggest problem, and the reason why it ended up kind of getting pushed over the edge was they relied on drills so much to make up for the actions and card advantage in combat that they kind of took that too far. So now I would like to see them take the existing card pool, which involves Orange Uppercut, and try and make attacking start to add the additional hand advantage for Orange to get, so it can be more relevant than it is now. I mean, yeah, it's still one of the best styles in the game. I think it's really well put together, but there are two other styles right now that are also heavily pushed. So I think I would probably make another energy combat-based physical attack. That would probably be something techy, maybe something that is just like decent damage. Raise your anger 1, and then like hit, like kill something, whether it be like a setup or drill, and then period. If the setup or drill was one of your own, then you get like X effect, like something that just ends up being unique. Like, and then I also like adding choice into it. So like if I decide to kill one of my things, I get a benefit from it. Whereas if I decide to just kill one of yours, I don't really get that benefit. So anything that adds kind of unique interplay to drills and stuff, I really like, and especially since drills don't have memory anymore. I think making those types of effects is now
safe.
Like all bets are off now. Like you can do that without having to worry about it. So I'd probably go in that direction. So generic energy combat physical attack, +2 stages, raise my anger 1, hit, destroy a setup or drill. If the setup or drill that you destroyed was your own, then do something else. Maybe you like use a critical damage effect.
Yeah, that could be pretty cool.
Oh boy, Coons, man. I'm telling you, man, when you're not talking about yourself, usually some insightful shit comes out your mouth, man. Shit is
when I talk about myself, it is insightful as fuck. You don't even know.
I don't know. It's beyond me. It's beyond my level of understanding. All right, so go ahead, Kreitz, my bad.
Well, I'll just say, what about you, Wayne? Like, I don't know if Orange has ever been your thing, but like, what would you want to see him do?
I would want. I'm in the camp of Matt's first statement of just pushing whatever the new mastery comes out, because I believe in sets past, whenever new masteries are introduced, they never have enough support. So I'm all about, like, we've seen it with like Perceptive. Like the cards that came out in Evolution for Perceptive were borderline garbage. There were only like 2 of them that were actually playable. So, and the same thing kind of goes for Adept when Adept came out, but like I'm about bolstering that whole introduction of when the mastery comes out. So
well, I wish like that. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, I was done.
Okay, I was just saying that I wish that the dev team kind of took a little more of the practical and like philosophical aspect that kind of Wizards does with theirs. So they obviously for Magic have like their 2-year gap where they're kind of setting up stuff ahead of time. And that's clearly like way too much to do for the dev team because this is a passion project, not their main job.
Small.
But even if they were just thinking like a set ahead, like what you're saying, having a card that helps the next mastery, seeing that kind of like sprinkled into a set early before like the actual payoff card is there would be interesting, because then you have that same kind of expanded card pool without it feeling like it's playing catch up, because you're kind of setting it up early. So it would be interesting to see something like that.
I feel like Orange Energized Push is that card.
Yeah.
Ooh, good point.
I think that's a card that's like definitely going to give you a good hint at the at what potential you could see in the next set, whether if it has something to do with reversing your modifiers, or if it has something more so to do with your attacks being able to change what they are. I think you could see some mechanics like that involved in the new Mastery, which I think could be pretty sweet.
Yeah. See, I saw that card as more of a connector, as like a hybrid build for Adaptive. Since Adaptive's Mastery gives you pluses for energy, and then you have the drills that give pluses for both. Like, I saw that as kind of that connector. I mean, obviously it's also good in Adept, but that was like where my train of thought went. But that would be really cool to see if they do something like that, where you're constantly having your opponent play this weird guessing game of like where your damage is coming from and what it's going to be. That would be really cool.
Yeah, I'd really like to see them kind of take the emphasis off of drills to an extent. Like, I know that the Mastery is going to have involve drills in some way, but I think whether if it be using your drills in your deck as a resource, whether if it's having them in play and then killing them to gain beneficial effects or stuff like that, I just like the idea of the Mastery becoming just a little bit less when it comes to drills.
Yeah.
And just really rely on the rest of the card pool to kind of make up that difference.
I kind of want to see setups like make their comeback a little bit. You know what I mean? Because I feel like drills are good now, and like Allies had their thing with Tag Team where Ally decks are really good, and they're obviously still really good with Gohan. But like, I feel like setups, there hasn't been a draw to really play setups because the meta's become like more aggressive. So running that many setups is becoming a liability, especially if you're running the other stuff like drills and your allies. There's a lot of dead space in your deck. But I just feel like outside of VTP, there's been no setup that kind of is like, yo, play me because I'm really good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's funny you mentioned that because when I was sitting around talking to the guys about the orange card that I was thinking about, it was actually going to be a setup. And the reason behind that is orange has a couple different cards that care about setups, but there's no real setup outside of like orange encouragement that you really want to like do something with. So like one of the cards in particular that I was talking about with the guys down at South Kai was Orange Elbow, which has been around I think since set 1 or set 2.
Yeah, set 2.
Where it's the AT+2 that if it hits you search your discard pile for a styled setup and put it into play. Yeah. There's been no real like setup you want to get with that card. So I would really like to see them make an aggressive like sort of setup that's styled for orange that you can actually want to sleeve that card and go like, you know what, this actually feels like a good choice.
Orange Energy Gathering, bro. Gain 7 stages, Rejuve 2. Shut the hell up. What are you talking about? Tier 1 combo.
Hey, I could actually almost see playing that like in a weird version of like chilled, because you want to always be higher than your opponent. So if you're playing against like Broly and they knock you down, you can like gather and then elbow drop and then put it back in. So if they knock you down again, you pick it back up. Like
I'm making a depth chilled with 3 orange elbows, 3 orange energy gatherings. It's gonna
stop it. Stop it.
It's for the Broly matchup, bro. For the Broly matchup.
No, not when all your blocks gain you 5 stages. No fucking way. Get out of here.
Right.
Yeah, it's totally fair.
But the thing is, like, you have to play all your other orange blocks that gain you +2 to 3 cards. Like,
yeah, they gain you a bunch of insane advantage.
like 5 stages. Why do that when I can go get a fucking drill for free?
Yeah. I will say this: the realest block that was in the Adept build I ran was Energy Catch. +2 to everything. +2 to everything scared the shit out of everyone.
It's so gross.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I think that'd be cool to see them do that with blue, but make it a blue physical mastery and make it like let you bounce it, like kill a setup from your hand to perform like a physical attack. So like take how bad rampaging was and just make it better with blue, and then make like a blue physical based setup mastery.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how many people in the community like know, but there's the Fanzy like proxy Facebook group.
Yeah.
That kind of gets started. I don't know if you guys remember when the game first got like derailed. A bunch of people were just posting up like their fantasy cards, and it was flooding retro, and people were getting pissed off. So they ended up making a offshoot for people who want to do that. And from time to time, I will like put cards on there that I would really like to see. And it's funny you mentioned the blue mastery, because I have one that's kind of similar to what you're saying that I made a while ago that I think would be really cool. It's your physical attacks do +1. Your physical attacks not performed from your hand do +2 instead. And then, as a power, you can discard a style card from your hand to make your opponent lose like 2 or 3 stages. I can't remember exactly what it was. And then, if the card you discarded was a setup or drill, you can pay 3 stages to put it into play instead. So, like, if you have a desire to want to make those setup attacks matter, I think a mastery that's like that would really like buff them to like the extreme.
Yeah, I wish they would do something like that, man, because I really miss playing Blue Lunge, bro.
Right?
Yeah.
That card's just great.
Sleeving that card up feels good because it's an AT +5 and it has 2 endurance and can get you another card.
Yeah, like that just seems like a really fun card that I always like to play.
Mm-hmm. Anything that, whenever I play it, I always think to myself that I'm playing Collected Company, and I always like, well, let me look at 5 cards. What did I get for free?
Yeah, hitting them with the cocoa is always a good time.
Yeah,
that's right.
Oh, I love cards like that in this game, though, that let you peek at the top X cards and then put one of those into play. I'm always just, like, so giddy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yay, Uncharted design space. I love it.
All right, so Corey, good job. Congratulations again. Orange is in your hands. We'll know you make a good decision.
Don't fuck it up, because if it's broken again, we're all going to know who to blame.
You swear to God, if you make Orange more good, you son of a bitch. All right. So now we already spoke on spoke upon how the field was so diverse at South Kai. Now, being that is the case, do you think that the meta doesn't shift at all going into Supreme Kai? And that's in North Dakota, right? Coming up?
Yeah, it's in Fargo. It comes up on the 29th, I think it was, or 28th. I can't remember what Saturday is.
Be sure to go down to Taco John's and Dwayne's Best Pizza while you're there, you know.
we know.
Best restaurants in town. Go ahead.
So because it was such a perfect storm of MPs and masteries, do you think anything changes going into the next event?
I mean, I think personally, it just depends on how serious people take the event there, how many people are capable of traveling. Like, I know that half of the meta for South Kai were locals, the other half were people who had traveled. So I don't know if there's going to be as big of a force of people wanting to travel just because of where it's at. Unfortunately, like, for me, I would love to go, but North Dakota is pretty far from Texas.
For sure. It's also really close to Gen Con, too. I don't think the numbers are going to be that big at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's gonna be like a Fargo local.
Yeah, it's kind of like an unfortunate circumstance from when it came in. That being said, though, who knows? Like, maybe there is just randomly a bunch of people, right? Like, maybe people just really want to test before Gen Con, right? And if they happen to live close enough to North Dakota, maybe they'll go.
Yeah.
Like,
what style do they get to make if they win for that one?
That's a good question.
I think that one's red.
Red.
Is it red? Oh, God, I wish I could go now.
Who gives a shit? Physical attack does plus 9 stages, gain 7 honor. Anger.
Honor? New game mechanic. Gain honor.
That's the secret mechanic for... Yeah, I was going to say, it's a new secret mechanic for Hercule moving forward, is honor.
Nah, actually, that shit came from a game called Legend of the Five Rings that's recently coming out. A lot of kids have been talking about it, so I got honor in my head. My bad, guys.
I actually used to play that. I used to play that as well before it became a living card game. So that game's super fun, and I'm excited to see like what's going to be coming out for that one too. Not to derail the discussion again from not DBZ.
All right, so red. They'll make a red card. It'll be dope. Whatever. Something also popped off this last coming week that's pretty interesting. The World's Martial Arts Tournament first round has finally come to an end.
That's right. We finally got people off their asses. A lot of people were waiting till Sunday. Well, now wait now.
Well, hold on a minute, buddy. You know, things go on inside people's lives. They can't stay strapped to a computer. Coons, how'd you do?
True.
Let's talk about that.
Me?
First of all, who'd you have? Who'd you draw?
Yo, man, Ginyu Squad, son.
Ginyu Squad.
Ginyu Squad's life, son. I played against a Black Devious Tao in round 1.
Damn, how'd you do?
Real well.
Clearly, I was gonna say he let him win because he didn't want to make you feel bad, Wayne. So.
I ended up going first, which my game plan's pretty simple. If he goes first, I pull Goldo first turn. If I go first,
what mastery?
He was playing Devious. I was playing Tag Team.
Tag team. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, if he were to go first, my game plan was to pull Goldo, and then that way he could basically first action power, and then I'd be able to do my power, get myself down to 2 above, and then after he threw a Tribune, if it hit, I'd be at 1 above 0, so I could use Goldo's effect.
Sweet.
But I ended up winning the dice roll, so I ended up going first, and then got an overpowering attack in the first hand. I ended up passing, and I went and fetched Nappa after that because I knew he wasn't going to enter on me down a card. And then he called combat when it went back to his turn, and I had Earthball 7 from the last turn. And
why'd you want Nappa?
Because, I was worried about him dropping stuff like Black Power Up, Black Searching Technique, Visiting the Past. So anything that was, a card that can either net him an extra card or give him an extra action, I'm not a fan of having.
All right, that makes sense.
So I powered for Frieza. He ended up eating the power, and then I waited for him to use his ability, so he banished a card off of his deck to go search, and then I played Ball 7, so then he had to discard down to just the Tri-Beam. Yeah, and then next turn I then entered, and then I powered immediately for Goldo, and I was already down at like 1 above 0, and I had an overpowering attack in hand, so then he ended up running straight into Goldo, and then I overpowering attack for Jace, and then I Jaced.
They started dabbing on him, basically.
Yeah, so it's basically just Genie Squad was
dabbing on him.
Genie Squad was just dabbing.
But yeah, no, like if he knew too, he was really good. He was really cool about it. He knew that if he didn't get a good start, that the game was pretty much over. Because instead of like, fighting 1-on-1, I just go wide and just my squad just dabs, and that's how I win.
That's how it goes when it comes to.
You get awestruck by the style. You're like, oh my god.
Like, damn, Ginyu keeps twerking on me. What the fuck? What about you, Kreitz?
So I ended up playing Saiyan Dynamic Cell. Not the way you probably would think, though. So, like I was saying when we first announced the tournament, I always take the tournament as a way to play something that is experimental that I want to see kind of field tested outside of just like random Octagon games. So I wanted to try out a bunch of the new skip cards from Legends. I wanted
those cards are busted.
They're real good. Like when I first put them in, I would just kind of put them in as a joke, and then I played them and I was like, "Holy crap, they're really good." Yeah. And then I was playing the level 1 and 2 Awakening cells, and then the old 3 and the only 4 that exist.
Right.
With the terrible arts, no matter which one you pick for 4. But I wanted to play the old 3 because the goal of the deck was to stay on 2 and just keep milling them for 4 every turn with the Cell Junior that increases it by +1, or with Tora. He was also in the deck. And then every once in a while you will eventually push yourself to level because of the nature of dynamic. Like gaining that passive anger eventually is going to catch up to you if they're not critting you. And so I wanted to still have a really powerful punch to try to just end the game. And unfortunately, my first round was against Tommy Maines, who's playing Nail, which seems a lot of people were really sure that I was going to win that game. He had the craziest combat I think I've ever seen a Nail deck do, and I've played some weird Nail decks that can go off. He played something like 13 cards, I think, against me. It was. I can't remember the mastery. I think it was restored, and he just started going ham and just drawing cards and doing things. And I was like, how is this happening? He ended up unleashing to level 4, and at one turn he had 6 or 7 cards in his hand, and I was like, what is happening to my life right now?
Oh God!
It was a massacre. And then I actually ended up playing my losers bracket game, and I actually got knocked out of that too. I played against Turles. That game was a lot closer. I think he had somewhere between 3 and 6 cards left in his deck, but the punches from Turles, if you're just not prepared for them, are brutal.
So wait, so you lost to the Nail deck, right?
I did. I lost to the Nail deck, and then I lost to Turles.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, it happens,
It does happen. It happened to me. It happened to me. I'm gonna tell the story. I'm gonna tell the story real quick. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. So, Radiant Slug Ball. I didn't get to level 2. He was playing 18, orange, I believe. Mm-hmm. And of course, we waited till Sunday night to play, and I couldn't get off level 2. And he drew 3 balls to ball out, and it was pretty late in the game. So I mean, it's not like it was he just drew all his balls, but
just out of nowhere, yeah.
It happened, and it's crazy because there were 20 some odd cards in his deck, and he just drew the 3 balls and he needed to win. So
that's crazy. I'm surprised. I'm surprised he's playing her as a ball deck. I know her level 2 comes with the crit when you activate her power. So it's definitely not a way I would initially think to use her, but that's kind of cool that he's trying.
Really? That's the first.
Wait.
That's the first thing I think of. Every turn you look at the top 2.
The peak. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but so for me, the way I see it is you get to play you know me, I play control decks. That's what I try to do. And so seeing those top 2 cards means that you always have the answer card you want, regardless of what turn it is. So if it's my turn, I want the answer card that's active. If it's your turn, I want the answer card that's defensive. And so that's the way I saw her power. And then coupled with, so I play her a lot in blue because it just gives you another way of like punishing them for trying to do anything like anger or allies, things like that. That's the way I've tried to play her, and I think that way is okay. I played her in Dominance, and Dominance has gotten a lot worse because of the way, like the numerous ways to de-level people. So I actually was talking to SJ and our write-up about wanting to try that deck again, but playing it the honest way of leveling with anger, just to see how different it would be. But I don't know if blue would be the right way for that deck. Maybe like black or something would be better. I do find
it interesting that you like the control archetype so much, and in DBZ, like you have the ability to build in an inevitability with a win condition that just requires you to play 7 cards. So I'm surprised that I don't see you think about or play more Dragon Ball decks.
It's only because drawing them in combat feels so bad.
Oh my god! I get it. I know.
Yeah. And even like you like I think all three of us are. Well, like for us, it's different because like I think the three of us are like the big proponents for Earth Dragon Balls, and so drawing them in combat isn't as bad. But like Dragon Ball decks in general, like unless you have like Earth Ball 7 either in your hand or in play, seeing them in your hand, and if you're not like Namekian, you're just like, well, I could have done things this turn, but instead.
Yeah.
I do agree. I think with you guys now that you mention it that like. The ability to look and see if they're there and tuck them away is nice, but like at the same time, you don't really want to tuck them, right? You want to draw them and play them.
Yeah, no, but I mean, if it's going into your turn, you peek and you leave them there.
Yeah.
But like, it just sucks to like be on their turn, see them, put it on the bottom, and then they pass, right? Then you're just gonna feel like you could have just drawn.
Well, that's when you got to grab your nuts and leave them on top, buddy. And just say, you won't, faggot. Come on.
All you need to do is just find one. If you find one, you can just move one card down and keep the ball there, and then you're hopefully only drawing one Dragon Ball when you go into combat. Which, even if there's worse things in life than drawing a Dragon Ball.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like we've said, like shuffle effects are godsends in this game. So if you have to throw them to the bottom, as long as you're playing shuffle effects, they'll show up again eventually.
And she has the crit on her level too, anyway, to protect you.
Yeah. Yep. And luckily, she comes with built-in shuffle effect because of her named attack. Because you switch your deck for an Android card and either put it into play or put it in your hand.
You're building the deck right now.
I mean, probably. I'm not saying that I'm, like, thinking about it now, but...
I think
you look at the top two, you see those 2 Dragon Balls, you put them back real quick and say, pass. He's not going to attack you, man. You got dynamite as far as he's concerned. It's mind game, son.
He's like, man, you
but I feel like
kill me with them top 2 cards.
I feel like the mind games don't work as well... like on Octagon, right? Because like a lot of times people aren't even like paying attention that you're using her power.
No. Yeah, that's true.
What are you doing?
Yeah. Like they'll ask afterwards. They'll see you like tuck a card into your deck and they'll be like, "What the hell are you doing?" You're like, "My power that I like activated and pointed at and showed you." So like, "Oh, okay."
Poor Wayne and Kreitz lost in the first round.
Yeah. Well, I'm out entirely of my own event.
I guess I'll have to continue carrying the KMD
That's
torch.
Right.
Well, chill, bitch. I'm trying to be the superhero and come up through the losers bracket.
That's right.
It's all strategy.
He's trying to Rocky story it up, like get knocked down a little bit.
If all of your stories start with "So I was on Lord Slug level 2," you're gonna lose every damn game. Like, there's no winning. There's no winning on Lord Slug level 2.
You know what? You're not wrong. You're not wrong, but I'll get there.
But don't you get 2 rejuve on that level? Like, that seems pretty good.
On hit.
And sweet AT3 from Seabrack.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's big damage. That's big damage. Come on now.
You just gotta figure out how to sneak like Saiyan Menace into your own deck.
That's when Broly just takes it and just goes, "Okay, I'll gut kick," and then you're just like, "God damn it."
Can we talk about that now that I mentioned that real quick? If Saiyan Menace were a Namekian card.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
With Namekian backhand, that would be really gross.
All right.
I'll backhand, I'll menace, I'll rejuve menace, I'll menace, I'll backhand.
Yeah. I'll block, I'll get menace, I'll block again. I'll menace.
I'll rejuve my 3 menaces, I'll put them all into play.
That's right. A hybrid for all of these, put them back.
Sorry, man. The kid's going to be the hero of the losers bracket. Mark my words.
Right. I believe. I'm rooting for both of you. I hope you both make it to the finals. and you decide to split it somehow, even though I'm not allowing that.
Thanks, man.
Double
well, it's the fact that you guys are thinking about splitting that I care about.
Yeah, it makes me feel good. Now kick the shit out of each other.
Dance, puppets, dance.
That's right.
All right, so we talked about some DBZ, and next week we'll probably talk about some more DBZ. I think we got the next event isn't, I don't believe next weekend. I still think it's a couple weeks off.
It was the 29th.
Yeah, so I guess talking to the people from the past, anything you'd like us to kind of discuss or topics of discussion that you might want us to harp on, you could leave them in the comments. I think it's going to be on YouTube and Facebook again. So if you guys have any questions, definitely drop them there, and we'll try to get to what we can get to.
Yeah, I mean, we'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Like, I've been kind of hinting at that whenever I post the videos up, but we really would like your guys' input. Like, we're doing this for you guys. I mean, we enjoy talking to ourselves, but we can do that regardless.
Especially me.
Yeah, but we could do that without recording it, right? So, like, we want to hear, like, the community input and see what you guys really want us to talk about and, like, dive into.
Fuck that. They bitches.
Anyone who believes in the kid coming up through losers bracket, put slug if you're nasty in the comments.
Just start hashtagging it on Twitter.
It's a movement, man.
It's a movement.
How do you think Donald Trump got started, man? You can do this.
Just telling people that he was slugging on fools.
Make slug nasty again.
Make slug nasty.
It's gonna be huge.
Oh man. Huge. Oh God, so good. All right, so any closing statements from you guys?
Well, I mean, all I was gonna say was that, like, I hope that Supreme Kai is as fun as South Kai was. Like we said, Fargo is kind of positioned weird, but I really hope that the community still pulls through and plays. Like I said, maybe they can use it as a testing ground for Gen Con. I know I had a blast at the both Kai events. I ended up going to East and South Kai. So if you're thinking about going to an event, whether it be this, like, Kai season or the next one, do yourself a favor and just go if you haven't yet. Like, they're a ton of fun. The community is so awesome. Like, it's really worth the trip.
Ditto.
Samesies.
Yeah, that's all I got. Same. So harping on what Kreitz said, I think the biggest thing is making sure that you do get out to play this game. Talking about it on Retro is one thing, and interacting with people there, but doing it in person is so much better. I was fortunate enough to do it a lot last year when the game was live, and I traveled to East Kai this year, and you create so many memories when you're out there traveling and hanging out with all these people that if you're ever bored and you want something to do, or you just want to go to one of these events, like Kreitz said, you just have to commit and go, because if you don't, you're honestly missing out. And like, it sounds crazy to say you're missing out on spending 10 to 12 hours in a card game shop sitting on your ass an entire day, but you truly are, because everyone's pretty hilarious in person, and it's cool to talk about things you're passionate about with people that are like-minded. So get out to some tournaments and actually play some cards, and you'll thank all of us, I promise.
He's so right. He's so right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'll close by saying, like, the dev team, like, my hat is totally off to you guys, because honestly, this game is in a space that it's never been in, and it's crazy because you don't have that backing that the game once had. Set 8 kind of, but set 9 really blew the doors off this game. Obviously, you can see in the results that as the field is more diverse, it's more competitive, there's no really top deck, and that's really refreshing. And honestly, I've been playing this game since the start, and now I'm having more fun than I've ever had playing this game. And I just can't thank you guys enough for keeping something that we all love going this long. And again, you guys are the shiznit. And get out to those shops for real, because these Kai events are the real deal.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like, what the dev team has been putting, like, in, like, with their spare time, like, we've harked on this a million times. Like, they all have jobs, they all have lives, and they're still dedicating to keep this game alive for all of us. And that dedication is showing in, like, droves with how the meta has been evolving. Like, the game feels like it is the best it has ever been, like you said. And, like, while I still think there might be an argument for some good decks, I mean, like, obviously we keep seeing Namekian and Gohan and Saiyan Broly. But I think you're right. I think there's so many. I mean, how I did with Tao has to at least show that there's things you can do that people are not going to be prepared for, because if they stay in the mentality of, like, there's only the top 3 decks, they're going to be hindering themselves in gameplay. Like, you cannot think that narrowly anymore. You have to build a deck that is powerful and flexible, and you have to be able to read what your opponent is trying to accomplish the second you sit down, because you just can't go in with assumptions anymore. You have to take every game as a fresh game. And, like, I agree 100% with what you said. Like, this game, for people joking that it's dead, God, it feels alive.
Yeah, I'm saying, it's like, it's not, like, they're not just keeping it afloat. Like, it's flourishing right now.
Yeah.
Like, it's thriving. Like, this game is amazing right now. And it's crazy. It's crazy that it is. But that's it for us. You guys can catch us again next week. Same KMD time, same KMD channel. And I'm still your host, the Kid, Wayne. Keep it TN, slug if you're nasty. Signing out.
This is Kreitz from the Fanzy Warriors Gather blog.
This is Matt Coombs, the best goddamn DBZ player on the goddamn planet.
Okay, bye! Bye! Bye!